seen me drive a seemingly endless parade of cars for the motor show, but perhaps you've wondered what I personally drive in real life. A sporty turbo, a posy 4x4. No, for the past 2 years or so, this has been my four-wheeled friend. A Jaguar XJ6. No, it's not a new one. The private number plate could hide a multitude of sins, but buying a limo second-hand is often the only way many of us could get to own one. So in this week's group test, we're looking at luxury second-hand biggies from a variety of vendors. To help, we've enlisted Ivor Carroll, a motoring journalist who specialises in the used car market and who's been writing about second-hand cars for over 10 years. The first car we located was an F-Reg BMW 525i SE.
Basically, this car new today would cost you nearly £30,000, and the price that we've got it up at the moment, as you can see, it's taken its initial depreciation. Therefore, the resale value of this vehicle over the next 2 to 3 years will be tremendously good.
A classic BMW drive, smooth, seductive, yet sporty. But what did Ivor think?
It's a very realistic price for this mileage, which is 39,000 miles. Smashing condition, as you can see, inside and out. Obviously a very genuine car, and I wouldn't mind it myself at that price.
But main dealers are expensive for a second-hand buyer.
You can always buy the same car cheaper at an auction or through a private sale, but this is convenient. The cars are all here for you to look at. It's also inherently risk-free. There are no outstanding HP agreements on the cars. You can be sure that they're not rebuilt, written-off cars. And you have the convenience that you can point out any defects on the car that you don't like, ask the dealer to put them straight, free of charge, and he's very unlikely to quibble. You can't do that through a private sale.
For our next luxury candidate, we went not to a main, but a specialist dealer.
The car comes with a full Mercedes-Benz service history,
That's the book, okay.
which also lists who's owned it, so you know it's had 2 owners, you know who they are.
So 9,000 with the service
Yes.
booklet, what would it be worth without?
Possibly 7 or 6.5, as much as that.
Like BMW, Mercedes depreciate relatively slowly, but it's still important to take a test drive.
It's not light, but it's not heavy at all. It's.
I mean, you're aware of the size?
Yes, you are, but I think you need to be, don't you?
Yes.
So do you think people are thinking longer-term quality with the recession on, so they don't have to keep buying a new car?
Absolutely. The Mercedes, the classic cars, last a long time if they're looked after.
Though it's now discontinued, Ivor told us this model wasn't yet a classic.
They don't make the 280. I think it was 1987 that they replaced it with the 300 SE, which to all intents and purposes is the same car with the same 6-cylinder engine just bored out to 3 litres. The power's the same, performance is the same, so it doesn't really make any difference. So it's not actually a rare car. I'd have given it a forecourt price of around 7.5, maybe a bit less in view of the fact that it wasn't perfect. There was a bit of rust and damp in the boot, the wheels were tatty, so they're pushing the price a bit too far, I think.
Another specialist dealer was offering number 3 in our luxury lineup.
It's something unusual, something your next door neighbour hasn't got. For the £7,000 you're going to pay for this car, what could you buy today? A Fiesta? It isn't very economical, but I think today you would probably only do 3,000 or 4,000 miles a year with this car, Eamonn. And the pleasure it would give you, the silence, the ride, you'll get a feel for the car.
It's beautiful to drive, it's very easy to drive, and it is luxury motoring. My inclination would be, if I had the money, to buy it and put it under wraps for 10, 15 years as a classic car.
I think it's worth every penny of the £7,000 that's being asked for it because it's an original example. It's not, as far as I can tell, been restored. It's not been repaired bodily. Because there are slight marks which testify to its originality, that actually helps it. It's not perfect, but it's near perfect, and that's what gives it its value.
But the years roll back and the miles roll on for our next sample of budget luxury. A 1986 C-Reg Ford Granada Gear 2.8i Auto, it was being offered after 96,000 miles by private seller David Rawlinson of Wythenshawe.
Of course, it's advisable never to meet a private seller other than at their home address in case there's a problem later. Now, I've already seen the car at his home, and here's my man for a test drive. Hi, David.
Hi.
Why are you selling the car?
I'm being made redundant.
Oh, yeah, that's a shame. So is that why you're not going for a trade-in?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I'm basically just getting rid of the car. My wife already has a car, so we're reduced to a 1-car family.
And a bus pass, maybe. It's very stately to drive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. Feels solid, comfortable on the road.
Yeah, it does, but not too huge.
No, no.
You know, I'm normally a Mini driver, and although I drive a lot of different cars for the show, I'm always surprised when big cars actually feel very manageable.
But Ivor had some bad news for David.
Granadas have rock bottom residuals when they're that age. The price he's asking would perhaps even be a little bit over the top if it was in perfect nick, which it isn't. It's got rust problems around the rear wheel arches, over 2 of the doors. It's got a couple of dings in the panels, and it has done 96,000 miles. He's being optimistic, but then private sellers stab at a price and expect to be negotiated down, so hopefully that's what he's trying to do.
Why do they depreciate so badly? Is it all about the badge on the front?
No, I think it's about the size of the engine. I think people are worried that fuel costs are going to be prohibitive, insurance is going to be prohibitive, and to a certain extent that is true.
Finally, the ultimate in second-hand limos, if you've got the brass. It's amazing how light it is to handle and how responsive it is for a car this size.
Strange, isn't it? You always imagine them, because they're so stately, you never imagine them going fast at all.
No, but this one would really move if you asked it to.
Imagine your neighbours' faces if you moved one of these into the driveway. It'd be a similar colour to Worsley cricket green over there, I should imagine. But are they really practical to own? Ivor, can a Rolls Royce be good value?
Well, consider this. If you buy a new Granada Scorpio now, it'll cost about £25,000. For that same price, you can buy an immaculate 1985 Silver Spirit with less than 50,000 miles on the clock. A couple of years down the road, the Granada would be worth 12 or 13,000. This would be worth much the same as you bought it for. You can either have this in your driveway or a new Granada. Put a personalised plate on it and your neighbours won't know that it's old.
Of course, you do have to do your running cost sums before you buy a prestige car. For instance, a main deal, a 24,000 mile service on this could cost you £1,200.
Still, if we can't afford to buy, we can at least hitch a lift. Home please, Kenneth.